Track Hockey Focus checking in with you guys one last time. The club championships have drawn to a close. It was an incredible tournament and an even more incredible championship Sunday.
Absolutely. Before we dig in the details of the A pool, do want to give a huge shout out to the Garden State Indians. Taking today's championship game, actually a huge win, 5-1 over the LA Barons. The Indians had a rough go of it in pool play, did not have the best tournament up until Sunday. Whatever they did after they finished on Saturday and woke up with on Sunday worked for them because they ran that pool play.
And I would say almost literally, and I think that the legs carry you through Sunday when it's hot, when everyone's tired and banged up, and those kids are resilient.
They had top to bottom, great offense, great plays. They moved, they cycled, they never stopped. And that's kind of, that wore down the Barons. So, again, congratulations to the Garden State Indians taking home that B pool championship. You want to jump to the A pool?
Moving to A, where there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of teams, a lot of goals, and an incredible championship. So let's try to run through it in order if we can keep our wits about us. We're just as tired as the players, I would assume. So
absolutely.
Start with the semis there.
Well, before we get to the semis, I think we need to talk about kind of some of the factors that we talked about on Saturday in the wrap-up, and how that may have impacted today's play.
Yeah.
One of them that we did talk about, and honestly, I don't want to glance over. I'm just going to mention it, but I think it's a non-factor. Was the heat and humidity.
Yeah.
And not that it isn't important. That is going to wear you down. But it really ties to the team who prepared and hydrated and, did the right things to get ready for Sunday because it was just as hot and just as humid for every team playing here.
Yeah, and that can really wear down, especially on the goaltenders with all the equipment there. So they have to struggle through maybe even more so than the players. They don't get to take shifts off. So.
But it's about preparation. Not only with gameplay, but hydrating and making sure you're good to go.
Yeah, the off-the-court stuff is big.
Yeah, and then a few of the things we talked about was like maybe some of those sleeper teams, maybe somebody that's gonna kind of rise to the occasion and then play well.
The unsung hero.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think we saw that today. There were a couple of upsets early on, but really what we saw, and we'll apologize for that real quick, there's actually activity still going on behind us. What we saw today, there were a couple early upsets, which may have been, early rise, late rise kind of theory.
Yep.
But really the script that wrote itself through pool play is what we saw today.
Yeah, it played out as some people would have predicted, I would say, up to a point.
Absolutely. And that point, I think, is really made in the first semifinal game where we had the rematch of Friday night.
And they packed the house. Pittsburgh came out and they watched their teams and they root.
Yeah, and it was again in the matchup of Montreal and Pittsburgh. And this game, I think, surprised everybody. If anybody thought this was going to happen, let us know how you knew, and very interested in catching up with you. But what actually occurred here is the gods shut them out 6-0.
Yeah, and shutting out a high-powered offense like the Red Light is, I would have considered up until today maybe impossible, especially when...
at least highly improbable.
Yeah, and then chipping in the two empty netters, so maybe put an asterisk next to it.
That's 4-0 going through.
Yeah, but 4 is...
And the gods got those in the first period.
Yeah.
They came out hot. And what I think, they really they were pumped. They were ready. Their adrenaline was going, and they used their speed to their advantage.
Exactly. Coming into our barn here, we're getting hyped up, and we're defending the house.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take credit away from Montreal's defense or their goaltending.
Yeah.
Honestly, a couple of those goals, questionable, but if you actually kind of watch how that play developed, they used their speed in stride and just ripped. I wasn't even ready for the shot. I didn't even see the goal, and I wasn't even playing. I had everything to look at.
Disguising it in stride, especially when you're tired on the run, going full steam ahead. That is talent.
Yeah, they had. In how those plays generated, those really the storyline of this game. Those goals in the first period were scored off of defensive turnovers by Montreal, and
then the quick.
Yeah, and the quick out, the breakout, and they just ran with it. But what I think the storyline here is that Pittsburgh was able to adjust and kind of influence the defense.
Yeah, so they brought a different tactic, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because when you're playing against a 3-on-3 team, they're different. They work in the space a little differently.
They're used to more tighter defense. They know they can feel you're on them, so they can feel where you are and anticipate what you're going to do. And the gods actually played off of them a little bit. They gave them a little bit of space to work with. And I don't know if that threw the mindset of Red Light off a little bit, But that gave the Gods defense enough time to react and respond to what
Yep.
Montreal was doing.
Gives you an extra step as a buffer zone.
But before we kind of move on, what I think we really need to talk about, and maybe this had like a mental edge or kind of influenced something here, was this game didn't start out 4-0 Gods. This game started out 1-0 Montreal, goal called back, ref blew the whistle, and squeaked through after the point, and then again about a minute later went back to 1-0 or 2-0 if the first one counted Montreal, and that one was called back because the whistle blew
I
early.
don't remember if it was the first or the second, but I thought maybe it was my vantage point. I thought maybe one of them was some, I could make an argument for it. I thought the other one was a little bit overhyped, and it might have just been my perspective, but that's definitely causing some controversy in their locker room tonight, yeah.
No, absolutely. And that's not devaluing the refereeing whatsoever. This has been a fantastic set of refs all weekend long. They've done a great job. But when you start so hot and score 2 quick goals and have them pulled back, that can kind of get in your head a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think we saw Montreal, getting frustrated with the defense, and they started to force a few things, kind of get outside of themselves
They
a little
like
bit.
that middle pass too much, and I think that the Gods were prepared for that because I saw, especially when it got later and they were pulling the goalie, they had the extra attacker, or maybe they were on the power play. They had a tendency to, when the kind of umbrella style wasn't working, they tried forcing that gap, and it was never there.
No, it wasn't. The Gods did a great job. But Montreal then, in turn, you can't forget the fact that they didn't give up any goals in the second or third period either. And what they did do offensively to try to offset that is then push back to their points. They stopped trying to go deep, and they started using the point shot and then crashing for rebounds. I mean, they had a few posts. They did. Their scoring opportunities were there. They didn't have, a game of inches, right? If a couple of those go one way, this is a completely different storyline, but that's not what happened.
And you play with a different mentality, I think, too, when you're playing from behind versus when it's time. So you have to get a little bit more risky. You're getting a little bit desperate and things like that. So it can change your style of play just based on what you have to overcome as a deficit there. So that's definitely a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the flip side of that, the other semifinal game between the War Pigs and the Godfathers, it didn't really have that level of intensity or flair, at least in my opinion.
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
more
they
of a
both came out a
passive,
bit
conservative game. And the War Pigs ended up taking that game 3-1.
I think they had a tendency to maybe mirror each other. If you throw one long and the guy's not hustling after it too hard,
They're
going
gonna
to
slow down the pace.
And it seemed a little methodical.
Which is a smart play, because if you have a team that's actually just going to dump and make you chase and dump and make you chase and battle of attrition, wear you down over time, well, okay, I'm just not going to do that. So smart for everybody there. But what we did see was the War Pigs actually really turn it up and get the job done 3-1.
Containing the Godfathers for nearly an entire game.
They scored that for one goal. That ruined that shutout came with like 10 or 15 seconds left. So it doesn't count on the scorecard, but still a shutout in our
But
hearts.
yeah, I mean, and those are great franchises, and I expected high-powered offense again, or at least if it's going to be a tight defensive battle, I expected it to just be white-knuckle terror and crossbars the whole way.
But in kind of my thought, rationale, and just my theory is that both teams knew that they were either going to play the Gods or Red Light, which are speedy, right? They have their speed, their talent. So maybe they played a little bit down.
Conservative save the legs thing?
Yeah, because either, regardless of the outcome, the Godfathers War Pigs were either going to play the Gods or Red Light. So maybe there's a little bit of conservatism that happened there to prepare for the finals.
That's a tough one when you're looking at it on the whiteboard.
I know. Honestly, that's Monday morning quarterbacking and just my theory. But
so then, when we finally see our matchup, so like we were saying, when the War Pigs maybe were a little slow, even though they definitely pulled it out, and that was a hard game, and they were actually a little bit of fisticuffs there too. But so then as they move on against the Gods.
Yeah, in the championship game. So the War Pigs, again, just to recap, did win 3-1 over the Godfathers and advanced to that championship game. This game, it was quick. It was fast. It was again, I hate repeating words here, but of the battle of attrition, everybody went, but nobody took too many risks. It was smart play across the board.
If we were to count up all the blocked shots from just that game, we would run out of room.
We're not that smart, man. We can't count that high.
Yeah, but I mean, guys were selling themselves out for everything and protecting their goaltenders, and when they didn't, block the shot, or when somebody finally found some space to get a scoring opportunity, the goaltenders were locked tight on both ends.
Absolutely. Rethage, which actually turned out to be the tournament MVP and well-deserved.
Absolute
I'm going to
stud.
say saved obviously goal after goal after goal, but just shut down
Yeah.
Niagara.
Controls every rebound and doesn't give second chances
But,
to him.
I mean, same for Niagara. They're right
Yeah.
on top. I mean, their goalie sucked everything up. There were not a lot of rebounds coming from him.
Exactly.
And we saw that kind of conservatism or just actual dedication to defense, I would prefer to call it that, that resulted in a 0-0 tie at the end of one.
Yeah, and that carried through into the second. Correct me if I'm wrong. After they play 6 periods, I kind of lose track of timing. But the gods tally first, and
It was a greasy goal.
yeah. I'm trying to think back to it off the top of my head. I've got the game winner on repeat in my head right now. We're still kind of like coming down from that.
Yeah,
but-
I'll break it down. I mean, really, it was just an ordinary play. Goalie had it, sucked it up in his stomach, and the spin of the ball actually just took it out, and he didn't realize it. Landed right next to him, but before anybody knew,
pick up the trash.
it was right on a God's stick and just buried the empty netter.
And then I think I don't remember when the tally came that tied it up.
It was pushing it. It was getting late into the second period.
But I heard it was so I had to walk away to do something real quick. We had a lot of moving parts here today, and appreciate everyone in the tournament for helping us keep our wits about us. But it was, to my knowledge, a quick turnover, maybe on a breakout pass, and they made a quick backdoor 1-T,
Yep.
and he sunk it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. It was a pass coming defensively, obviously, out of the zone. The Gods were trying to start their breakout, and they just didn't have enough on it.
Yeah.
Niagara did jump that pass. Good for them, but they had a guy just sitting there right on the tape.
And good
Nailed
for
it.
them taking the advantage of finally somebody take advantage of a mistake, because no one's getting any space. No one is making any glaring mistakes. Like, there were guys maybe would fumble a pass here or
it was
there,
in
or something like
anticipation,
that.
and he saw it.
Yeah, and quick bang.
And Niagara was playing hard at that point. They wanted that goal back. They knew it probably wasn't the best goal of all time. Good goals count the same as bad, but they were going at it right after that. They were 100 miles an hour. And that kind of anticipation, and that, I mean, at that point, they're forechecking, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did, and they got that opportunity. But now, again, what happens next?
And this one wears on and on.
Yeah, third period, nothing. Goalies shut it down.
Yeah.
We can talk for days about this play or that play. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
So we're going to overtime right now, 1-1, right? First overtime. Same thing.
Yeah.
Absolute same thing. Goalies locked it down. Defense locked it down. Of course, there were chances. Everybody showed up and did their job, though.
We saw
Playing
a
to
couple
win.
of pipes even.
Yeah.
We saw some sprawling saves. I mean,
Yeah, there were some scrambles. There were,
it should have
obviously
been tangles probably, but
everything that you would expect to see happened. It just never made it in. Now, where it gets interesting is obviously we're moving on to the second overtime here.
yeah.
And this is, I mean, now you're 5 periods into a championship game after playing an Ironman
Yeah.
in 3 games yesterday, maybe 2, and a couple today. You're getting tired, but you're getting anxious.
Well, and I want to mention too, the physicality did not stop.
No.
Guys were finishing every single play, making you pay. If you beat them to the ball in the corner, you're paying for it every single time. And that level of just like glass shaking physicality on both sides just was all the way through.
That never stopped. Man, that's an excellent point. But what we ended up seeing is, I'm going to call it a huge misstep by the Gods. They came off a penalty kill.
I completely forgot about the penalty.
They were coming off a penalty kill. Honestly, I don't even recall what that specific penalty was. They're coming. They dump back to even strength. They dump it. Guy comes back to the bench. Ref pulls him back off. You can't change an icing, right? Gods call it a timeout, which on the surface sounds okay, except they already burnt their timeout in the third.
Bingo.
So they just finished a penalty kill. They have tired legs. They had just ice. Call another penalty. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
So the refs confer. They made the right call. They all got together and gave them a 2-minute delay of game, which is what should have. I'm sorry.
Minute and a half.
Minute and a half. I apologize.
Minor penalty. Bench
Yep.
minor.
Minor penalty. Bench minor. So effectively, the Gods are going back to back penalty
Well,
kills.
and we had seen it too. Is that what we were saying is when space is at a premium and legs, the set plays, the power plays, that's what's going to do it. And I'm sitting here thinking, is this what's gonna write the story for the gods?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a we forgot we burned our time out loss on a power play? But that wasn't the case.
No, that's not. The gods actually pulled that out, and they had a shorthanded opportunity. Because that penalty, I want to say, was about it was at the end of the period, maybe about a minute 30 left. So it was going to take the entire period.
I think it carried through, actually. I'm
Yeah,
not
just
100%.
for a couple seconds. But at the end of that period, the gods had, a breakaway.
Yeah.
That ended up being saved.
Almost a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. A shorty that they anticipated a pass, broke it. They knew there's a couple seconds left, so took the
Diving
chance,
shot.
and they went. And fortunately for the Rebels, the save was made, and they go to third. Oh, I apologize. Wrong Niagara, the War Pigs. But
moving through the third here.
Yeah, moving to the third, there's not a lot of third period here, guys. It took about 15 to 30 seconds.
And we're
You've
running
been wanting
our-
to talk about this. I'm going to let you have this one.
Okay, so I've got this running on repeat in my head, and so we're down. We're actually right by the DJ booth there, so we had a pretty decent view. And then, so it looked like somebody was coming on the War Pigs behind the net, looking to clear it hard. I mean, he wound up, at least from what I could see, and he was looking to wrap it around. Not sure if someone got a stick on it, if he duffed it maybe, or if it hit the net, whatever happened. And then a scramble ensued, and the puck ends up chipping out in front of the net. And I wish I could remember who the heck it was. Guys,
Yeah, it's 25.
gets his backhand on it by some miracle, and flick of the wrist, finds the soft spot, and
Game over, just like that.
hands in the air.
Yeah,
It
Eddie
was
McDonough.
unbelievable.
Eddie McDonough, again, found the right spot. Just like that first goal, the gods were in the right spot. That ball find their stick. Eddie
Yeah.
McDonough backhand nails it.
Yeah, I mean, that was so clutch, and that's just got to feel great after you've battled out through all of that to be the one that can say, like, I ended it with the exclamation point. That's got to be the ultimate feeling.
It's got to be a great feeling, and honestly, what a great end to a tournament, going into 3 overtimes. With that though, honestly, we just wanted to kind of say thank you to everybody here.
Yeah.
We had a blast coming out. Probably one of the best decisions we've made coming out from Iowa to
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
absolutely.
Appreciate everybody's hospitality, everybody coming up, introducing themselves, talking through their teams, wanting to interact and be a part of everything that we're doing here. This is one of the best environments for a hockey tournament we have been in or seen for quite some time. So congratulations, congratulations, Pittsburgh Gods.
Yeah.
But again, thank you everybody, tournament directors, Jake, who was helping us out, everybody that, kind of working with RMU, the Robert Morris University,
Yeah.
that hosted the events. Corey Hirschkin, the Pittsburgh Gods, everybody on his kind of staff.
Yeah.
The volunteers that kind of put all this together. Bauer.
We've got MVP. We've got Bauer.
Bauer for their donations, and all those sponsors that you saw donating to the scholarship fund. So as we close it up here in Pittsburgh, we do need to wrap it up quick because we do have quite the hike back to the Hawkeye State. Again, just wanted to say thank you. And if anybody watching is ever in Iowa, look us up. We'll host you. We'll host you like you deserve.
We love you guys. Thanks
All right,
for tuning
thank you all.
in.